Hello, welcome to the third video on units and unit conversions. This video explains how to do simple unit conversions. First, let's review video 2 briefly. There we learned how to do ratio word problems, how to solve those problems, where the word per is key. Whatever unit comes before the per is in the numerator, and whatever unit comes after the per is in the denominator. We talked about how units work in mathematical operations. For both addition and subtraction, we have to have identical units. For example, in all the numbers being added, all of the units have to be identical. And for a subtraction problem, all the units or all the numbers being subtracted must have identical units. In multiplication, the units simply multiply, and in division, the units divide. We also practiced canceling units. If you have the same unit in the numerator and the denominator, they can cancel. In approaching simple unit conversions, we're going to first do a quick math review. We're going to look at how to make conversion ratios. Then we'll show how to do the unit conversion process, and then finally practice. Math review. One of the concepts you should have gone over in math by now is that if you take any number a, and a represents, it could be 10, it could be -5, it's basically a variable that stands for any number. If you multiply any number by 1, it doesn't change the number. So 10 times 1 equals 10. Similarly, -5 times 1 equals -5. A second thing we should have learned is that if we divide any number by 1, it doesn't change the number. So 10 divided by 1 is still 10, and -5 divided by divided by 1 is still -5. There we go. We also learned that if you divide a number by itself, the result is 1. The one exception to that is if the number is equal to 0. If the number is equal to 0, mathematicians don't like that. They don't like dividing by 0. So we have to assume that a is not equal to 0. So 10 over 10 would be equal to 1. -5 over -5 is also equal to 1. Finally, if we have the left side of the equation is equal to the right side, b equals c, and they're not equal to 0, then we can start with b equals c here. We can divide both sides by b, and the results are still equal. They're still equal. Now we know from this result that b over b must equal 1, and so 1 equals c over b, or c over b equals 1. Okay? So similarly, if we can write b equals c, and we can divide both sides by c. So b over c equals c over c. They're still equal. And because c over c is equal to 1, then we know that b over c is equal to 1. So c over b equals to 1, and b over c equal to 1. And that may sound kind of trivial, but actually it will be very important in just a moment. Now let's look at how to create unit conversion ratios. If we are given an equation 1 foot equals 12 inches, well, we can think of this left side as being the b from the page before, and the right side being the c. Then we can write 1 foot over 12 inches equals 1, and 12 inches over 1 foot equals 1. Now, what does that really mean? Well, obviously 1 over 12 is not equal to 1, but here's a 1 foot ruler starting with a 0 point here, and 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inches down all the way to 12 inches at the other end. So this length from here to here is 12 inches, but that length from here to here is also 1 foot. So 1 foot and 12 inches are the same distance. So if we divide them by each, by one by the other, the result is 1. Similarly, we can say 4 cups equals 1 quart. From that, we can get 4 cups over 1 quart is equal to 1. and 1 quart over 4 cups is equal to 1. And I'm not going to write equal to 1 every time. Here's a quart measure, and we see 1 quart at the top here, and we see 4 cups. So physically 4 cups and 1 quart are the same. So if you divide one by the other, you have to get 1. Down here we have 1 inch equals 2.54 centimeters. So we can say 1 inch over 2.54 cm is equal to 1, or 2.54 cm over 1 inch is equal to 1. Similarly, we can say 1 km, kilometer, over 1,000 meters is equal to 1, and 1,000 meters over 1 km is equal to 1. So let's get some practice doing that. I would like you to get out a brand new sheet of paper and write your name and date in the upper left-hand corner. Write exercise number 3.1, conversion ratios. Write each of these equations, and then write the two conversion ratios that we get out of them. When you're done, restart the video. So now that we see how to create conversion ratios, let's look at a simple unit conversion process so that we have the problem statement to convert 2 fathoms to feet. Okay, and the way I set it up is I start with the beginning information, 2 fathoms times some conversion ratio equals some number of feet. Well, I can look up in a dictionary or on the internet that 1 fathom is equal to 6 feet. So that allows us to write 2 conversion ratios. 1 fathom over 6 feet is equal to 1, or 6 feet over 1 fathom is equal to 1. Well, so we can multiply 2 fathoms by 1 and it fundamentally won't change it. So which of these conversion ratios should we use to multiply times 2 fathoms? Well, we should use the one that allows us to cancel out fathoms and gives us feet in the numerator, which would be this one here. So let's just put that in there. We get 6 feet over 1 fathom. Fathoms and fathom cancel. 2 times 6 is 12. And the feet here goes over here. So we've solved the problem. 2 fathoms end up being equal to 12 feet. So let's practice that some to try to speed things up in the process. So here we're asked to convert 2.5 gallons to liters, rather than, and we're told that 1 gallon is 3.785 liters. Capital L is liter. Well, rather than writing the 2 conversion ratios here, why don't we just write the conversion ratio we need straight into this blank space here. And so what we're going to want to do is, we know that we want to have gallons in the denominator because we want to be able to cancel this gallons, and we want liters in the numerator because that's what we're converting to. So we're going to draw a line here. We're going to put 1 gallon in the denominator so that we can cancel it, and we're going to write 3.785 liters in the numerator. And I don't have a calculator here. You can get out a calculator and calculate what the number is, and you're going to end up with some number of liters. Okay? Let's look at the problem again. Another problem. Here we have convert 4 hours to minutes. Well, in order to make things a little easier, I'm going to represent this 4 hours as 4 hours divided by 1. We learned earlier that we can divide any number by 1 and it doesn't change the number. The reason I'm doing this is to make it very clear what numbers are in the numerator and which are in the denominator. So let's say we need to cancel out the hours and convert it to minutes. So we're going to have to put the hours in the denominator, 1 hour, and the minutes in the numerator, 60 minutes. This allows us to cancel out hours, and 4 times 60 is 240, and the units are minutes. So we've solved the problem. 4 hours are equal to 240 minutes. Let's do another problem. We're going to convert 120 pounds to kilograms. 1 kilogram is 2.205 pounds. So 120 pounds, we're going to divide it by 1 equals, times. Let's see, we want to put pounds in the bottom, so it's going to be 2.205 pounds. So we can cancel the pounds, and we're going to put the kilograms in top, 1 kilogram. So again, we get out our calculate, we punch in 120 divided by 2.205 pounds, and we're going to get some number of kilograms. And we would have completed our conversion. Okay, let's take out a brand new sheet of paper now, and I'd like you to put your name and date in the upper left-hand corner. And I'd like you to write this for the title, and then I'd like you to write convert 1.2 miles to feet, and this over here basically reproduce what we have here. And then I'd like you to go ahead and do those conversions the way I did them earlier. So 1.2, we'd start, for example, here, 1.2 miles divided by 1 times, figure out, we're going to have something in the numerator and something in the denominator, figure out how to do that and solve the problem. Go ahead and use a calculator for this, and restart the video when you're done with all 3 problems. Okay, so we need some more conversions, or we need some more equations. So we use equations like 1 quart equals 4 cups, 1 foot equals 12 inches, 1 mile equals 5,280 feet in order to create those conversion ratios. The more equations we have like this, the more conversion ratios we can create. And so we're gonna try to build a list of equations that's relatively comprehensive, so we can do a broad range of conversions. And you should do this neatly, because you can use this list of equations throughout middle school, high school, even into college. You might want to type them up or whatever, because they're handy references for creating conversion ratios. So begin by writing your name and date and the title Equations for Unit Conversions. And then restart the video. Okay, you've restarted by now, and here's what I would like you to write. I want you to begin with time equations and write out all these time equations. 1 hour equals 60 minutes, 1 minute equals 60 seconds. If you want to abbreviate it, you can. So that would be 1 HR equals 60 MIN. But if you do that, make sure you're using the correct abbreviations. Go ahead and write all those out and then restart the video. Okay, you've restarted the video now. Let's do some more of these equations. We're going to do some distance equations, and first we'll do them with US units. Remember, we have both metric and US units, so write down all of these distance equations that you can use for creating conversion ratios in the future, and then restart the video. Okay, you've restarted the video. Now we're going to do some more of these. We also have metric units where we want to write 1 kilometer equals 1,000 meters, or here's the abbreviated form, 1 km equals 1,000 m, and so on for metric units and for these US to metric units. Okay, restart the video, and thank you very much for watching. The next video will continue with slightly more difficult unit conversions.